just live streaming it. So yeah, I think the time is going to be exactly 11. Yeah, I think so. We will start without much ado. Welcome everybody to this session of the first session of our new season of online Bhagavad-Gita Parayan as well as Satsang, and we are and today being a very auspicious day. Today is also the first day of the Chaitra Navaratri and also Ugadi, and we also wish happy Ugadi to all people who celebrate Ugadi, especially the Telugus as well as the Kannadigas. For I think for many of them it's a new year also. So our new start is also a new year for at least some parts of India and some people from India. So it's a great thing, and we welcome everybody into this session. Without much ado, and this event is going to be is being live streamed onto the Gita Jayanti's Facebook page as well as the YouTube pages. So that's about it for now. And I think I will actually mute everybody because in the interest of avoiding any problems. I would like to mute everybody, and only the co-hosts will be able to unmute themselves. Yeah. Okay, so we are done. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, and after that we'll get started. Okay. Everybody, please unmute yourself. Mute yourself, except people who are using. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the beginning, and the commencement is actually will be by Sunilji, and he will start with the initial invocations, followed by our guest of honor, Mr. Ambassador Jayachandranji's address will be there. After that, we will proceed with the dhyanam and other procedures. Okay, we will start with the invocation mantras. Over to Sunilji.
Oh. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastuma Vidyushavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chadurbhujam Prasannabadanam Dhyaye Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varate Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sata. Sarva Mangala Mankalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bante Jagat Gurum.
Thank you so much, Sunilji. And now I request our guest of honor for today, our respected Ambassador Jayachandranji, to address us. And he's the chairman of the Hindu Endowments Board, and he will be addressing us briefly. Over to Jayachandranji.
Good morning. Gita Jayanti Singapore is kicking off its first Parayan session for the current year today. We all know that even in the worst pandemic lockdown period in 2020, the organizers did not give up on the Parayan sessions. They quickly switched over to online mode, much to the appreciation of the interested participants. And the organizers noticed the interest kept increasing even in those difficult past 2 years. For this to have happened, the credit should go fully to the Gita Jayanti organizers for making full use of the technology in time. Again, this year happens to be the 25th anniversary of Gita Jayanti Forum, and a few events have been organized to commemorate it, including 3 more talk sessions by Swamiji Parayan. But none of this distracted the organizers from starting the Parayan session on time. Such being the seriousness of the organizers and of course the participants, I'm sure the sessions will go on smoothly and flawlessly every alternate Saturdays, with eminent speakers coming in to share their understanding of Gita's teachings for our benefit. And before we realize, we would have reached the last session for the current year on 4th December 2022. In our tradition, it is said that we all need a guru in pursuing the right path. It is also said that guru will find the earnest seekers. Until that happens, Gita's teaching should be the best alternative in our life's journey. And even after that, it is the best mode, I should say. I'm sure you all agree. Let me wish the organizers success in conducting these sessions per plan, and the participants in absorbing the truth as taught by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Hello. Thank you so much, Jayaji, for your beautiful words. And we will strive our best. Last 2 years, we could do our sessions without any problems by the grace of God, as well as the hard work of all the chanters and all the participants. So we did not have any problems at all. Last year, we did 18 sessions, and we completed in, after the 18th session, we had a full chanting of the Bhagavad-Gita on the Moksha Ekadashi day. And the year before last, we had, I think, 15 sessions. So this year, we are planning to do 18 sessions. And, 18 being a very auspicious number in Mahabharata as well as Bhagavad-Gita. Okay, so now I will switch back to our presentation, and we will get back to our chanting. And initially, chanting will be initial part, and now it will be the dhyanam. Dhyanam will be the next part of next what is next following, and this will be done by Padmini-ji. So over to Padmini-ji for the dhyanam.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Srimad Bhagavad-Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad-Gite Bhavadveshinim Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullara Vindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajvalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraika Panaye Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya Gita Mrita Duhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavaha दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसि न श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
Thank you so much, Padmini. And now we actually move over to the actual segment of the Gita Parayan. Today we will be covering 41 verses of the Bhagavad-Gita, first of chapter 1. As we all know, Bhagavad-Gita has 700 verses, and they are actually split into 18 chapters. But unfortunately, some of the chapters are very long, and some of the chapters are very, very short. So it is impossible for us to actually split them into 18 chapters. With the same number of slokas. So what we have taken is we are actually going to do approximately 40 or 41 slokas per day, per session, so that we can cover in 18 sessions. So we will not be actually doing a partitioning according to the chapter-wise partitioning. But another initiative that we have starting from last time as well as this time is actually a speech by some of the accomplished students as well as masters of this Bhagavad-Gita. And today we have Swami Samachittanandaji, revered Swamiji from the President Swamiji of Sri Ramakrishna Mission, to give us elucidate on the topics of this Bhagavad-Gita's portions which are actually chanted today. So he has already joined the session, and he will be after this Parayan is over, there will be a speech by him for at least about more than 30 minutes. And subsequently after that, we have also introduced a new segment called as Bhagavad-Gita quiz, a mini quiz in which about 10 questions are being asked in the thing. And at that time, you will come to know about what is about the details of the quiz. And this will be just after the talk by Swamiji. And after this, we will the quiz session, the segment, there will be only just about 5 minutes or so. And then we will move over to the final concluding verses, and followed by the actual the question answer session with the speaker. So please do hang on for all the for the full segment. This is going to be a very wonderful segment of not just Parayan, but the full Satsanga with actually a knowledge sharing session, understanding the concepts which are being chanted, and also important to note is that every verse which is being presented here, we also give the meaning of the verses so that people can actually, while chanting, and also look at the screen and understand the meanings of the verses. verses being chanted by the different masters of Bhagavad-Gita. So it's very important that we understand the thing. And the quiz part that we have done is also to basically to understand, to go in deep, into slightly more deep into the Bhagavad-Gita itself. And it's only restricted to the portions which are being chanted. So our whole focus is towards the segments which are a number of verses which are being chanted today only. Now we will get back to the chanting, and over to we will the chanters, Padmaniji as well as Lataji.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Pratamodhyayah. Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre.
Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre.
Samaveta
Samaveta
Mamakav Pandavaschaiva.
Mamakav Pandavaschaiva.
Kimakurvata Sanjaya.
Kimakurvata Sanjaya.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre. Samaveta Mamakav Pandavaschaiva. Kimakurvata Sanjaya.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre. Samaveta Mamakav Pandavaschaiva. Kimakurvata Sanjaya.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Drishtva tu Pandavanikam.
Drishtva tu Pandavanikam.
Yudham Duryodhanastada.
Vyudhan Duryodhanastada.
Acharyamupasangamya.
Acharyamupasangamya.
Raja Vachanamabravit.
Raja Vachanamabravit.
Sanjaya Uvacha. Drishtva tu Pandavanikam. Vyudham Duryodhanastada. Acharyamupasangamya. Raja Vachanamabravit.
Sanjaya Uvacha. Drishtva tu Pandavanikam. Vyudhan Duryodhanastada. Acharyamupasangamya. Raja Vachanamabravit.
Pashyaitam Panduputranam.
Pashyaitam Panduputranam.
Acharya Mahatinchamum.
Acharya Mahatinchamum.
Yudham Drupada Putrena.
Vyudhan Drupada Putrena.
Tava Shishyena Dhimata.
Tava Sishyena Dhimata.
Pashyaitam Panduputranam. Acharya Mahatinchamum. Vyudham Drupada Putrena. Tava Shishyena Dhimata.
Pashyaitan Panduputranam. Acharya Mahatinchamum. Vyudhan Drupada Putrena. Tava Shishyena Dhimata.
Atra Shura Maheshvasaha.
Atra Shura Maheshvasaha.
Bhimarjuna Samayudhi.
Bhimarjuna Samayudhi.
Yuyudhano Viratascha.
Yuyudhano Viratascha.
Drupadascha Maharathaha.
Drupadascha Maharathaha.
Atra Shura Maheshvasaha. Bhimarjuna Samayudhi. Yuyudhano Viratascha. Drupadascha Maharathaha.
Atra Shura Maheshvasaha. भीमार्जुनसमायुधि युयुधानो विराटश्च द्रुपदश्च महारथः धृष्टकेतुश्चेकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित् कुन्तिभोजश्च शैब्यश्च नरपुङ्गवः धृष्टकेतुश्चेकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित् कुन्तिभोजश्च शैब्यश्च नरपुङ्गवः
काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् पुरुजित् कुन्तिभोजश्च शैब्यश्च नरपुङ्गवः
युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्तः उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्तः उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः
युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्तः उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः
अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान्निबोध द्विजोत्तम नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान्निबोध द्विजोत्तम नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तां ब्रवीमि ते
अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान्निबोध द्विजोत्तम नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तां ब्रवीमि ते
भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदत्तिस्तथैव च भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदत्तिस्तथैव च
भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदत्तिस्तथैव च अन्ये च बहवः शूराः
अन्ये च बहवः शूराः
मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः
मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः
नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः
नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः
सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः
सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः
अन्ये च बहवः शूराः मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः
अन्ये च बहवः शूराः मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं
बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितम्
बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितम्
पर्याप्तं त्विदमेतेषाम्
पर्याप्तं त्विदमेतेषाम्
बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्
बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्
अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकम् बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम् पर्याप्तं त्विदमेतेषाम् बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्
अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितम् पर्याप्तं त्विदमेतेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम् अयनेषु च सर्वेषु
यथा भागमवस्थिताः
यथा भागमवस्थिताः
भीष्ममेवाभिरक्षन्तु
भीष्ममेवाभिरक्षन्तु
भवन्तः सर्व एव हि
भवन्तः सर्व एव हि
अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यथा भागमवस्थिताः भीष्ममेवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि
अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यथा भागमवस्थिताः भीष्ममेवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि
तस्य सञ्जनयन् हर्षम् कुरु वृद्धः पितामहः
कुरु वृद्धः पितामहः
सिंहनादौ विनद्यौ चैः
सिंहनादौ विनद्योच्चैः
शङ्खं दध्मौ प्रतापवान्
शङ्खं दध्मौ प्रतापवान्
तस्य सञ्जनयन् हर्षम् कुरु वृद्धः पितामहः सिंहनादौ विनद्यौ चैः शङ्खं दध्मौ प्रतापवान्
तस्य सञ्जनयन् हर्षम् कुरु वृद्धः पितामहः सिंहनादौ विनद्योच्चैः शङ्खं दध्मौ प्रतापवान् ततः शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च
ततः शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च
पणवानकगोमुखाः
पणवानकगोमुखाः
सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्त
सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्त
सशब्दस्तु मूलोऽभवत्
सशब्दस्तु मूलोऽभवत्
ततः शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च पणवानकगोमुखाः सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्त सशब्दस्तु मूलोऽभवत्
ततः शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च पणवानकगोमुखाः सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्त सशब्दस्तु मूलोऽभवत्
ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते
ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते
महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ
महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ
माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव
माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव
दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदध्मतुः
दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदध्मतुः
ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदध्मतुः
ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदध्मतुः
पाञ्चजन्यौ हृषीकेशः
पाञ्चजन्यौ हृषीकेशः
देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः
देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः
पौण्ड्रं दध्मौ महाशङ्खम्
पौण्ड्रं दध्मौ महाशङ्खम्
भीमकर्मावृकोदरः
भीमकर्मावृकोदरः
पाञ्चजन्यौ हृषीकेशः देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः पौण्ड्रं दध्मौ महाशङ्खम् भीमकर्मावृकोदरः
पाञ्चजन्यौ हृषीकेशः देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः पौण्ड्रं दध्मौ महाशङ्खम् भीमकर्मावृकोदरः
अनन्तविजयौ राजा
अनन्तविजयौ राजा
कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः
कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः
नकुलः सहदेवश्च
नकुलः सहदेवश्च
सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ
सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ
अनन्तविजयौ राजा कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सहदेवश्च सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ
अनन्तविजयौ राजा कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सहदेवश्च सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ काश्यश्च परमेश्वासः
काश्यश्च परमेश्वासः
शिखण्डी च महारथः
शिखण्डी च महारथः
दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च
धृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च
सात्यकिश्चापराजितः
सात्यकिश्चापराजितः
काश्यश्च परमेश्वासः शिखण्डी च महारथः दृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्यकिश्चापराजितः
काश्यश्च परमेश्वासः शिखण्डी च महारथः धृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्यकिश्चापराजितः
द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयाश्च
द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयाश्च
सर्वशः पृथिवीपते
सर्वशः पृथिवीपते
सौभद्रश्च महाबाहुः
सौभद्रश्च महाबाहुः
शङ्खान् दध्मुः पृथक् पृथक्
शङ्खान् दध्मुः पृथक् पृथक्
द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्वशः पृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहुः शङ्खान् दध्मुः पृथक् पृथक्
द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्वशः पृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहुः शङ्खान् दध्मुः पृथक् पृथक्
सघोषोधार्तराष्ट्राणाम्
सघोषोधार्तराष्ट्राणाम्
हृदयानि व्यदारयत्
हृदयानि व्यदारयत्
नभश्च पृथिवीं चैव
नभश्च पृथिवीं चैव
तुमुलो व्यनुनादयन्
तुमुलो व्यनुनादयन्
सघोषोधार्तराष्ट्राणां हृदयानि व्यदारयत् नभश्च पृथिवीं चैव तुमुलो व्यनुनादयन्
सघोषोधार्तराष्ट्राणां हृदयानि व्यदारयत् नभश्च पृथिवीं चैव तुमुलो व्यनुनादयन्
अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा
अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा
धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः
धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः
प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते
प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते
धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः
धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः
अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः
अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः
हृषीकेशं तदा वाक्यम्
हृषीकेशं तदा वाक्यम्
इदमाह महीपते
इदमाह महीपते
अर्जुन उवाच
अर्जुन उवाच
सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये
सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये
रथं स्थापयमेच्युत
रथं स्थापयमेच्युत
हृषीकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदमाह महीपते अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयमेच्युत
हृषीकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदमाह महीपते अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयमेच्युत यावदेतान्निरीक्षेऽहम्
यावदेतान्निरीक्षेऽहम्
योद्धुकामानवस्थितान्
योद्धुकामानवस्थितान्
कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम्
कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम्
अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे
अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे
यावदेतान् निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे
यावदेतान् निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे
योत्स्यमानानवेक्षेऽहम्
योत्स्यमानानवेक्षेऽहम्
य एतेऽत्र समागताः
य एतेऽत्र समागताः
धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेः
धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेः
युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः
युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः
योत्स्यमानानवेक्षेऽहम् य एतेऽत्र समागताः धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेः युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः
योत्स्यमानानवेक्षेऽहम् य एतेऽत्र समागताः धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेः युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः
सञ्जय उवाच
सञ्जय उवाच
एवमुक्तो हृषीकेशः
एवमुक्तो हृषीकेशः
गुडाकेशेन भारत
गुडाकेशेन भारत
सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये
सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये
स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्
स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्
सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्तो हृषीकेशः गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्
सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्तो हृषीकेशः गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्
भीष्मद्रोणप्रमुखतः
भीष्मद्रोणप्रमुखतः
सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम्
सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम्
उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान्
उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान्
समवेतान् कुरूनिति
समवेतान् कुरूनिति
भीष्मद्रोणप्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान् समवेतान् कुरूनिति
भीष्मद्रोणप्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान् समवेतान् कुरूनिति
तत्रापश्य स्थितान् पार्थः
तत्रापश्य स्थितान् पार्थः
पितॄनथ पितामहान्
पितॄनथ पितामहान्
आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन्
आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन्
पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखिंस्तथा
पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा
तत्रापश्य स्थितान् पार्थः पितॄनथ पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखिंस्तथा
तत्रापश्य स्थितान् पार्थः पितॄनथ पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव
श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव
सेनयोरुभयोरपि
सेनयोरुभयोरपि
तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेयः
तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेयः
सर्वान् बन्धूनवस्थितान्
सर्वान् बन्धूनवस्थितान्
श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेयः सर्वान् बन्धूनवस्थितान्
श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेयः सर्वान् बन्धूनवस्थितान्
कृपया
परयाविष्टः विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत्
अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सुं समुपस्थितं कृपया परयाविष्टः विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत् अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सुं समुपस्थितं
कृपया परयाविष्टः विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत् अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सुं समुपस्थितं
सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते
सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते
गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मनः गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मनः
गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मनः
निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव न च श्रेयोनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव न च श्रेयोनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे
निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव न च श्रेयोनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च किं नो राज्येन गोविन्द किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा
न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च किं नो राज्येन गोविन्द किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा
न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च किं नो राज्येन गोविन्द किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा
येषामर्थे काङ्क्षितं नः
येषामर्थे काङ्क्षितं नः
राज्यं भोगाः सुखानि च
राज्यं भोगा सुखानि च
तयिमेव स्थिता युद्धे
तैमेव स्थिता युद्धे
प्राणान् त्यक्त्वा धनानि च
प्राणान् त्यक्त्वा धनानि च
येषामर्थे काङ्क्षितं नः राज्यं भोगाः सुखानि च तयिमेव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणान् त्यक्त्वा धनानि च
येषामर्थे काङ्क्षितं नः राज्यं भोगा सुखानि च तैमेव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणान् त्यक्त्वा धनानि च
आचार्याः पितरः पुत्राः
आचार्याः पितरः पुत्राः
तथैव च पितामहाः
तथैव च पितामहाः
मातुलाः श्वशुराः पौत्राः
मातुलाः श्वशुराः पौत्राः
श्यालाः सम्बन्धिनस्तथा
श्यालाः सम्बन्धिनस्तथा
आचार्याः पितरः पुत्राः तथैव च पितामहाः मातुलाः श्वशुराः पौत्राः श्यालाः सम्बन्धिनस्तथा
आचार्याः पितरः पुत्राः तथैव च पितामहाः मातुलाः श्वशुराः पौत्राः श्यालाः सम्बन्धिनस्तथा
एतान् न हन्तुमिच्छामि
एतान् न हन्तुमिच्छामि
घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदन
घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदन
अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य
अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य
हेतोः किं नु मही कृते
हेतो किं नु मही कृते
एतान् न हन्तुमिच्छामि घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतोः किं नु मही कृते
एतान् न हन्तुमिच्छामि घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतो किं नु मही कृते
निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्नः
निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्नः
का प्रीतिः स्याज्जनार्दन
का प्रीतिः स्याज्जनार्दन
पापमेवाश्रयेदस्मान्
पापमेवाश्रयेदस्मान्
हत्वैतानाततायिनः
हत्वैतानाततायिनः
निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीतिः स्याज्जनार्दन पापमेवाश्रयेदस्मान् हत्वैतानाततायिनः
निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीतिः स्याज्जनार्दन पापमेवाश्रयेदस्मान् हत्वैतानाततायिनः तस्मान्नार्हा वयं हन्तुम्
तस्मान्नार्हा वयं हन्तुम्
धार्तराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान्
धार्तराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान्
स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा
स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा
सुखिनः स्याम माधव
सुखिनः स्याम माधव
तस्मान्नार्हा वयं हन्तुम् धार्तराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव
तस्मान्नार्हा वयं हन्तुम् धार्तराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव
यद्यप्येतेन पश्यन्ति
यद्यप्येतेन पश्यन्ति
लोभोपहत चेतसः
लोभोपहत चेतसः
कुलक्षयकृतं दोषम्
कुलक्षयकृतं दोषम्
मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम्
मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम्
यद्यप्येतेन पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषम् मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम्
यद्यप्येतेन पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषम् मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम्
कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः
कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः
पापादस्मान्निवर्तितुम्
पापादस्मान्निवर्तितुम्
कुलक्षयकृतं दोषम्
कुलक्षयकृतं दोषम्
प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन
प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन
कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः पापादस्मान्निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षयकृतं दोषम् प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन
कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः पापादस्मान्निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षयकृतं दोषम् प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन
कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति
कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति
कुलधर्मा सनातनाः
कुलधर्मा सनातनाः
धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम्
धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम्
अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत
अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत
कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्मा सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम् अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत
कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्मा सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम् अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत
अधर्माद्भिभवात् कृष्ण
अधर्माद्भिभवात् कृष्ण
प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः
प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः
स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय
स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय
जायते वर्णसङ्करः
जायते वर्णसङ्करः
अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसङ्करः
अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसङ्करः.
thank you so much for all the chanting, beautiful chanting by all our chanters. And this time we have actually two new teams. One is Umaji and Sahanaji, and I will maybe let me just stop my share for a minute so that people can see. So Umaji and Sahanaji here, and also they're also mother-daughter pair, and we also had a whole family actually with 3 children and their mother, Lakshmiji, and their children Arjun, Anish, and Anika. Anika is just a little 5 years old child, and all of them are wonderful chanters, and we all have to be really feeling great that such a whole family of chanters are there. And we should also know that this Arjun and Anish actually won the recent one Gita Gita competition, where they had to chant from all over the Gita. They had to select from all across the Gita by heart. So they were mostly chanting by heart. So that is really amazing. And also, and Umaji and Sahanaji came second in that same competition. So really amazing. So we are very thankful to both Umaji as well as Sahanaji, and the Lakshmiji and Arjun and Anish and Anika. And they all came to us through Dr. Varsha's this competition. So thank you again. So now before we go ahead, we have to do this. And also our, all other chanters, like, the other chanters are Patniji, then Lataji, then Lakshmi, then Rajitaji, then Siddhuji, Srihariji, Vinodiniji, and Vivekji. These are all our traditional chanters. So now let's get back to our sharing again. The meanings of the earlier verses given in the earlier slides were actually from the great commentators like Swami Chinmayananda, Swami Dayanandaji, Swami Gambhirananda, George Feuerstein, Swami Vireshwarananda, Dr. Radhakrishnan, etc. And the acronym that's used to indicate is also given here. And now we move over to the Gita Mahatmya by Vivekji.
Atha Gita Mahatmyam Gita Shastramidam Punyam Yah Pathet Prayatah Puman Vishnoh Padamavapnoti Bhayashokadvivarjitah Gita Dhyayana Shilasya Pranayama Parasya Cha Naiva Santihi Papani Purva Janma Kritani Cha Mala Nirmochanam Pumsam Jalasnanam Dine Dine Sakriddhitam Bhasi Snanam Sansara Mala Nashanam Gita Sugita Kartavya Kimanyai Shastra Vistaraihi Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padmadvinisrita Bharatamrita Sarvasvam Vishnor Vaktradvinisritam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanmana Vidyate Sarvopanishado Gavaha Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahat Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantrastasya Namani Yani Karma Pyekam Tasya Devasya Seva.
Fantastic, beautiful chanting by Vivekji of the Gita Mahatmya. Now is widely most expected session for this session is talk by Swamiji, Swami Samashitanandaji. Last year he gave such beautiful talks on the first day as well as the last concluding 2 days. And today also we are expecting eagerly listening to trying to listen to Swamiji. So over to Swamiji, please. Swami, you have to unmute yourself. You have to unmute.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, for Gita Jayanti's new year's chapter, today is a first day of the year for many. it is first day of the Vikram Samvat and also Navaratri. So many places people have started chanting Ramayana, or in North India, Ramcharit Manas, and also Sri Siddha. We will be talking about the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. Maybe in future, once or twice, if I get a chance, I will continue with this subject. But from a spiritual point of view, I will be little candid. I will be little more expressive in doing this. That Bhagavad-Gita, just like any other scripture, is like a flower. When you hold the flower or you deal with the flowers, you get the beautiful grana, beautiful fragrance of the flowers. In the same way, the scriptures in which is of that, but whichever way you do it, it is going to give you the fragrance of the scriptures, that is the meaning of the scriptures. Now, how clear you absorb that meaning. Now we chanted just now, and I saw also that there is a translation given. While chanting, you may not be able to read the translation, but not only this discussion, but individually you can read the translation, because it is good to read. It is better to read the translation than to only chanting. It is better to read the explanation than only to read the translation. Then there are people, if I am speaking, is Bhagavad-Gita as it reflects in my mind, that may not be absolutely suitable to you, because every mindset is different. That's why when different speakers come, some people like this speaker more, some people like other speaker more, is because of your mental build-up. So you are able to connect with that speaker. So I will be speaking today about the essence of Bhagavad-Gita from spiritual life point of view. Rather, what Bhagavad-Gita, when I read, instead of having a good habit of studying Bhagavad-Gita, which is excellent, but that message of Bhagavad-Gita should bring change in my life. That change is the final culmination of all the processes which we undertake. If yes, it is better than
Swamiji seems to be stuck. Swamiji, I think your line seems to be stuck. Swamiji, can you hear us? Swamiji, can you hear us? Your video has gone. Swamiji, can you hear us? Srivasaji, can you hear it? Can you hear Swamiji?
Swamiji is muted.
No,
I cannot hear. And
Yeah, now
Yes,
he has come back.
muted.
Now he has come back. Okay, Swamiji. Okay, dear.
Because it says my internet connection is unstable. I do not know today what suddenly has happened. Hopefully by grace of God should continue. Okay, so from spiritual point of view, that studying Bhagavad Gita eventually should affect our life in improvement. So that improvement comes with improvement in our habits, improvement in our belief system, improvement in improving our relationship with God or our religious and spiritual practices. So we'll see. I have selected 5 slokas so that which I consider that this could in one way can be called as essence of Bhagavad Gita. Every sloka of Bhagavad Gita is important. We cannot say this sloka is less important, this is more important. But still, there are many slokas which are informative. There are many slokas which are part of the history. You may not be able to get a new wisdom out of it. For example, those who have studied Shankaracharya's Bhashya on Bhagavad Gita, he has not written a single line of Bhashya on the first chapter. Because first chapter, there is no philosophy. Up to the Clavium Masma Gamapartha, from that sloka, he starts writing Bhashya. So first 10 slokas of second chapter, also he has not written any Bhashya. What we are telling here is that every sloka is part of Bhagavad Gita, so it is important from the respect and devotion point of view. But there are many slokas which are historical, many slokas which are informative, many slokas are philosophical. There are many slokas which are technically called Kuta Shloka, are difficult to understand. So there, the Bhashyakaras have written longer Bhashyas. So there are little differentiation from spiritual point of view, some from the scholarly point of view. So let me start with a simple explanation comment given by Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna says the very essence of Bhagavad Gita is what you hear while repeating the word Gita 10, 15, 20 times. Gita, 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 Gita is a tyagi, or it is his simple way of telling for people to understand. Renunciation for the sake of higher state of mind. If you are, say for example, you went to Sri Perumal temple, you are entering the PGP hall, you want to go to auditorium, can you remain at the first floor? Still you want to go to the second floor? To go to the second floor, you must renounce the first floor. So renunciation is not a negative aspect or an attitude. Renunciation is your effort to go higher. The more you put effort to go higher, automatically the things which are lower will be renounced by you. Automatically, you don't need to put effort to renounce it. So Sri Ramakrishna says to renounce everything for something which is called everything sarva. Sarva means everything. And I was just studying in my own way, the one word which is used most time is the word sarva in Bhagavad Gita. I counted, it is 44 times. The word sarva, this everything, because God is sarva. God is sarva, God is everything. If you want to go to a shop and wants to buy a item worth of $5, what you do actually, you buy that item and pay $5. If you want to buy $50 worth of things, you pay $50 and buy $50 worth of things. But if you want to buy the whole shop, there's a big value and you must renounce that much money to buy everything. God is not only one shop, God is everything what is there in this world. So you need to renounce everything for the sake of God. Now, people may ask a question, how to renounce Swamiji? We are householders, we are married, we have children, we have families. Sri Ramakrishna gives a simple answer. There are 2 types of renunciation, internal and external. You cannot leave the family and go to Himalayas or go to forest. You can renounce internally. Renouncing what? your attachment, your lust, your greed, your pride, your ego, that only is to be renounced. Not renouncing your relatives, because that is improper. Even Bhagavad-Gita, Sri Krishna also says that evam pravartitam chakram. This is the chakra. Chakra is a cycle. You cannot simply go out of the chakra. There's a way to go out of the chakra, but you cannot. So wherever you are, internal renunciation is compulsory. If the time has come in your life when externally also you can renounce, then you renounce. But without renunciation, you do not get that godliness or the state of jnana or state of bhakti. Secondly, Shankaracharya beautifully puts in one line, what is Bhagavad-Gita? Most of us have read only Bhagavad-Gita or heard about Upanishads. Very few people have read Upanishads. Even Bhagavad-Gita, very few people have read the commentaries of the Acharyas, etc. I'm sharing with you, maybe Shankaracharya's Bhashya could be difficult for those who do not know Sanskrit and those who do not have a deep study of Bhagavad-Gita. Please take Sridhar Tika. Sridhar Tika, or the gloss of Sridhar, they say in English. Our Swami Vireshwanji, the translation which you have taken, is a Sridhar Tika of Bhagavad Gita. Sridhar Tika is based on Shankaracharya's Bhashya, but it is Bhakti Samanvita Jnana. And the language is much modern, so language is more easier for people to understand. And when translation is there in English or other languages, it is obviously more easier to read. But read the shlokas, read the translation, and also read this gloss of Swami Vireshwaranji's translation, original Tika by Sridhar Swami. Then you will understand little in better. Translation gives one word to one word. It's a word to word translation. But that word is explained. Every word has a different meaning. Same word. You know the word Atma, not Atman, but Atma, has a 6 different meanings in Bhagavad Gita. If I say, my name is so-and-so, whose name we am talking about? My body? I'm sad. When you say I am sad, whom we are talking about? No, my body is not sad. My mind is sad. I am very intelligent. Who is intelligent? Not body, not mind. It is intellect who is intelligent. So I, when I say I, has different meanings. In the same way, every word in Bhagavad Gita has to be little explained by the Acharyas. We are not Acharyas. Acharyas are Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Vallabhacharya, Madhvacharya. These are the realized souls. And they explain the meaning of the word in Bhagavad Gita that will help us a lot. In 2 minutes' time, because we don't have so much time to discuss, to build up your personal spiritual life, a few slokas, if you want to write, I am giving you the reference. 2nd chapter, 54 to 72 is a Sthitaprajna Lakshana. These are the qualities of a realized soul. If you want to realize those qualities, we need to cultivate in us. Second is quality of a devotee. Go to chapter 12, Slokas 13 to 20. Go to chapter 14, Trigunatita Lakshana. Trigunatita is one who is above all sattva, rajas, tamas qualities, who is also other name of a realized soul. Go to these 3 slokas of 24 to 26 of chapter 14. Then on 16th chapter, there is Daivi Sampad. If you see 16th chapter, very interesting. Daivi Sampad is given in 3 slokas. Asuri Sampad is given in so many slokas. Because as a human being, we have more bad qualities than good qualities. I remember conversation of one of very old 2nd generation Swami of our order, Swami Ashokananda. Some of you may have heard about him. A brahmachari comes and says to Swamiji, there are so many qualities to follow. How we need to practice? To be liberated, I must practice hundreds of qualities. To practice Satya and Ahimsa, Gandhiji spent the whole life. How can I practice so many qualities in my life? the Swamiji told him, why don't you live a life as if you are liberated? No anger, no lust. You practice as if you have that quality already. Thinking that in mind, don these qualities in you and live the life, because few fundamental qualities are there: the purity of mind and purity of the purpose and the kindness and compassion. And these are basic things. But to go in details, you must read the qualities, see the meanings, what the acharyas have told, then you can imbibe those qualities. If after reading Bhagavad-Gita or hearing about Bhagavad-Gita, if no change comes in my mind or my character, it is futile. It doesn't mean, it's a good activity. It is good activity, but it doesn't produce that much result. It is something like throwing the seed on a concrete surface. It will not sprout. If you throw in the garden with all the weeds, your seed will be destroyed somewhere. So what you do, you clean the ground, you dig the earth, put little good soil, good manure, water, then put the seed, it will sprout and it becomes a tree. We need to prepare the ground. Then only the seeds of Bhagavad-Gita will sprout in our life. This preparation of the ground is very important. Remaining nature will take care. As soon as the ground is prepared, you put the seed, you sow the seed in the ground, then it is the nature's job. You protect the seed, protect the plant, keep on giving water, if necessary manure, if necessary little protection. But the seed becomes a sprout and sprout becomes a plant by a natural process. We need to prepare the ground. So I have selected 5 slokas, which in general can be called, essence of Bhagavad Gita is 700 slokas. We can't say these 5 slokas is the essence. According to your choice, you select. We used to do that. All of us are reading Bhagavad Gita. Some of you would have done that. I have no right to say that I am the only man who has done it. You read Bhagavad Gita. All of us have a printed book. Take 1 week and write down the 700 slokas by your own hand. That becomes your personal Bhagavad Gita. And you will, at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, when you 700 slokas you will write at the end of 18th chapter, you will find the confidence and the joy that you have achieved something. Then when you read Bhagavad Gita, you read Bhagavad Gita written by you. Written means it is copied by you. Printing is okay. Machine doesn't get liberation by printing 1000 copies of Bhagavad Gita. You write once by yourself, it will have a tremendous effect. You write in your mother tongue. Don't have your vernacular language, write in English. But write the whole Bhagavad Gita by yourself. This is the old tapasya which our forefathers used to do. Forefathers of every race and religion. Christian monks used to sit on the mountain and write the Bible in their own hand. Sadhus write Bhagavad Gita, Chandi, all the books which we use regularly to write in your own language, so the spelling also is not mistake, and your chanting will improve a lot. Because your writing, once writing is 4 or 5 times reading. That's why your chanting, when you do the Parayana, is one of the best which I have heard. Why? 1/4 slokas, then 1/2 slokas, then full slokas. Actually, the individual 1/4, one charana, one pada of the sloka, you are chanting almost 10 to 12 times. And then this gets memorized and your pronunciation becomes clear. Anyway, so these 5 slokas I selected, which in general we shall talk a little. How much time I have? So that I go accordingly.
Swamiji, you can go till about 12:40 or so.
Or 12:30, 5 minutes left.
No, 12:40.
Or 12:40, we have 15 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
3 minutes per sloka, no problem. So,
Swamiji, you can also talk 5 minutes more if you wish to. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
I will not talk too much.
Yes. Yeah. You are the boss.
No, it's okay. Okay. So first we take the slokas from the 3rd chapter. 36 and 37, 2 slokas. This is universal problem of every human being. Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha anichannapi varsneya balad iva. Eva word is very important. Balad iva niyojita. As if somebody is forcing me to commit sin. Even if I do not want, I commit sin. Why? provoked by what? I commit sin, even if I do not want. Sin no need to be a very negative. Any mistake is a sin. Sin word is not the Christian concept of sin. In Hinduism or in Vedanta, the word papa is a mistake which is pardonable. By doing papa karma, there is no eternal hell, permanent hell for Hindus. There is no definition of that. Our heaven and hell is like you have positive points, you go to a resort, you have a negative point, you go to prison, but you come out. That is heaven and hell in Hinduism. There is no permanent hell and eternal heaven in Hinduism. Your mistakes and your blunders are pardonable. Correct? So Arjuna is asking on behalf of us, what is that? What is that by which, even if I do not want, even if a person doesn't want, person commits mistakes and sins? Sri Krishna gives a beautiful answer in 2 words. Kama esha, krodha esha. Actually, kama and krodha, the desire, kama's normal translation is lust, but technical translation is desire. Any desire, any vasana, any kamana is called kama. Kama esha, esha kama, esha krodha. And kama krodha, lust and anger, or the desire and anger comes from where? Rajoguna samudbhava. A sattvic purusha has a lesser desires and lesser anger. So when in your life the desires are reduced, anger is reduced, think that you are on the right path of sattvaguna. How to know I am sattvaguni or rajoguni or tamoguni? It shows in my life. Go to the 18th chapter or 16th chapter, you will find what is sattva, rajas and tamas. And this kama and krodha, the desire and anger, is what? Mahashano. One person in the world, in Mahabharata there is a shloka. Yudhishthira says this shloka. Whatever is enjoyable in this world, whatever is enjoyable, whatever is an object of enjoyment, whether it is food, whether it is traveling, whether it is person of same or opposite sex, or whatever you want to see, in the whole world, whatever quantity of objects of enjoyment is there is not sufficient for even one person. Yudhishthira says, not me. The intelligent person gets saturated and renounces. Without enjoyment, in this life or previous, you will not get saturation, or you will not be able to get away from there. So Sri Krishna says, Mahashano, unquenchable. That's what the story of Jayanti goes. Took away the life of all the sons, but his lust is not reducing. Then he got this knowledge that enjoyment of the objects of enjoyment is like pouring ghee, butter, oil in the fire. It enhances the fire. It doesn't reduce the fire. Then Mahapapa. What is Mahapapa? That which forces you to commit mistakes. Once your desire is so powerful, even the good people, even the people of high character, you will find many examples. We don't need to say anybody's name. Even supposed to be a great spiritual people. Big Swamis, big this and that. But they also commit a mistake. Why? Because this desire and anger is Mahapapa. One is Maha Ashana. Ashana means eating. It is not quenchable. That hunger and thirst is unquenchable. Only the name of God can lift your mind to that level of purity. Then only you can be free from desire. Even taking the same meaning, or rather the what you say, a particular meaning which generally people tell, kama means lust. Even the lust, when your mind is overpowered by lust, nothing in this world comes in between. You are forced to do which you do not even want to do. So when it is like boiling of the milk, before it bursts and comes out of the vessel, when it starts boiling, you must have noticed it and you must take action over it. Vidhi enam iha vairinam. Consider this desire and anger as your enemy. Nobody wants to give a place in their house to their enemies. Why we can harbor and give a permanent place in my heart those which are my enemies? So that was one thing which is very pertaining, very important for all of us. It doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter whether you are a monk or a householder. Doesn't matter you are a rich or a poor. Doesn't matter whether a woman or a man. Everybody has this issue. Issue of lust or the desire and issue of anger. Actually, desire and anger are the same thing. You know what is desire? Desire is like a flow of water. One by one desire comes in our mind. As soon as there is an obstruction in desire, it becomes anger. It is like a flowing river. When you construct a dam over the river, what happens? The water level goes up. In the same way, obstructed desire creates anger. So desire and anger are the same thing. Desire is at the root of everything. Avidya, kama, karma. It is the desire which prompts us to do action. And it's the ignorance which is cause for our desires. So that was one aspect which I felt could be the very, very pertinent, very, very important essence for us. Second, what is the way out then? Go to chapter number 9, sloka number 34. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mame vaishyasi yuktvevam atmanam matparayanam. This bhava means to be. This is manmana bhava, madbhakto bhava, madhyaji bhava, and mam namaskuru. So, manmana bhava, manmana bhava. What is manmana? Continuous remembrance of God. You say, how 24 hours we can remember God? Remember God in your waking hours. Nobody says you to remember God when you are asleep. There are very few people in this world who remember God even while sleeping. Not in deep sleep, but when we saw dream. Because they don't have any object in the dream because of their lack of desires or no desires. There was a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna called Gopaler Ma, or Mother of Gopala. When she is fast asleep, her hands used to count the name of God. 30 years at the bank of Ganga as a poor young widow, she stayed at the bank of Ganga and aharnisha, all the waking hours of her life, she did japa or the name of God. Somebody told, Mother, even Swami Vivekananda told her, you have achieved everything what is to be achieved. Still you are doing so much japa for what? She answered, so that shloka will come later. I could have quoted this incident later, but let me tell now itself. So that I can remember God at the end of my life. We say, whole life I spend as I want. Maybe death time I will remember God. You do not know when death will come. Suddenly you will collapse and you don't remember. You have so many things to remember. The people whom you love, the property, the unfinished litigation. There are so many things you need to remember. If you get detached throughout your life, then only at the end you will be able to remember God. So he said, Man mana bhava, mad bhakto bhava. What is bhakta? We all know these words. Bhakta, bhajanam, bhaja is the word. So that which you are emotionally attached to, you cannot become a devotee of God until you have love for God. Simply going to temple, I tell many times, I think I was told last year also, in the whole Bhagavad-Gita, chant, read, write, whatever, there is no word called mandiram, devalayam. There is no word called statue, pratima, murti, no. Because we never had temples. We never had murtis. All came later on and that's good for us. So, become my devotee. How to become devotee? Devotee is one who loves. If I become your fast friend, means I want to spend time with you. I want to be with you. I want to meet you. I want to spend time, etc. Bhakta means one who always wants the company of God is Bhakta. Not one who goes to temple, not who does charity, no one who does anything. No karma can make you a devotee. It only love for God can make you devotee of God. Mad yaji. What is yaji? Yajanashila. What is yajanam? Is sacrifice. What you have, you can sacrifice. You can't sacrifice what I have. What you have, you may have money, so you sacrifice your money for the good of people or for service of God. You may have time, you may have physical energy. Whatever you say, it is yours. That can be offered to God. That is called yaji. So mad yaji. Mam namaskuru. People become fanatic and say, no, except Krishna, we don't bow down to anybody. I say, if your $10 not fall on the ground, you will bow down and take it back. Don't tell that you don't bow down to anybody. So we have this ego, a sectarian, a religious ego. I remember I went to invite a particular denomination of our Hinduism only, not other religion. Oh, we have that in India somewhere. Oh, we have a birthday of Sri Ramakrishna celebration. We invite all the sadhus of your ashrama for inviting for lunch. We call it Bhandara, or for the feast. They clearly told me, we will not come because we take only prasada, all the food offered to a particular deity. We don't take to prasada of any other deity. It's okay, we respect your faith. We respect your faith. But if you say Mam Namaskuru, is not the particular form of God. We have sects in India who are absolute Krishna devotees, but they do not worship a statue of Krishna or a photograph of Krishna. There is a symbolicum ghatam, and on the ghatam, a kind of a decoration is there, and people will sit and do kirtana in the name of Sri Krishna. That I am telling the followers of Shankar Dev, or they call it Honkar Dev, from Assam. And the effect of Shankar Dev is so much. You can convert anybody to other religion. You cannot convert an Assamese because they are so much devoted that they say, no, I'm born with this, I will die with this. So, Mameva Aishyasi, definitely you will reach me. Yuktva. If you are constantly concentrated and connected with me, you will achieve me. If you become manmana, always your mind is in me. Mad bhakta, emotionally you are attached to me. Mad yaji, whatever you do is sacrificed for me. Mam namaskuru, you are always devoted to me. Then you will come to me, definitely. Atmanam mat parayana. If you get mat parayana, what is parayana is a very good word. There is no parayana is a different word. There is a word parayana, there is a word parayana. Parayana is you are faithful, you are dependent, respectful, etc. You can say, I am this temple, I am Mandir Parayana person. So I am always visiting, I am always contacting, etc. He says, I am the self. Bhagavad-Gita Slokas, Sri Krishna has told to Arjuna different philosophies, different grammar. I don't want to take time. We have a very short time now, hardly a few minutes. But even there are slokas where strilinga, pullinga, and neutral gender, all are there in one sloka. That is grammatically wrong. Because God doesn't have any linga. God is free from linga. Krishna, the character is a man, Radha, character is a woman, but Krishna as God is above the idea of sex. So you will find this sloka in Bhagavad Gita, particular sloka, where all the three genders are used for God in one sloka. Okay. Next sloka which I want to say is Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nitya abhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. If you search in Google the promises of God, you will find all the Christian articles and photographs and pictures as if other gods or other gods never told that they have promised. Bhagavad-Gita, God gives so many promises. We need to do intellectual work. That which is visible is sword. We have to flood our concepts of spirituality everywhere. So here it is said, that's one who is always attached to me. Ananyas chintayantam. Anya, not else. If you understand little Hindi, there is a beautiful song by Mirabai who says, Mere to Girdhar Gopal. That is fine. Girdhar Gopal is mine. Dusaro na koi, and nobody else. This nobody else doesn't come in our life. Krishna is mine, but so many other things also are mine. No, it doesn't happen. So Ananya means no other than God is in center of my life. I devised a little more imagination. God-centered life and God-flavored life. I have so many things in my life with little flavor of spirituality. And there is somebody who has God-centered life. His life revolves around God. So that is more important. And he says, Tesham nitya abhiyuktana. Those who are attached to me, yoga kshemam vahamyaham. I arrange for what they need and I protect what they have. People say, okay, if I'm a devotee of God, money will come to me by myself. That also may come. But God may test you without sending the money. If you love me, then you are ready to tolerate that. If I don't get money, then God doesn't love me. No. Generally what happens, we do not love God. We do not love God. We want things to get from God. I put a little funny way. Go to the temple, big list, wish list, bucket list, and the coconut becomes a paperweight. God, I want these things, and I offer you one coconut. God is not a fool who will accept one coconut and fulfill $1 million desires. So let us not keep God away. God is for our spiritual life, and also he sustains our day-to-day life. So here Sri Krishna says, if you are really devoted to me, you will not have dearth of resources to survive. All the devotees of God, even God himself, except Buddha and Rama, all the incarnations practically are born in a miserable condition. Krishna was born in prison. Jesus was born in a stable. Correct? Only Rama was born in a palace. So Sukha and Dukkha comes because of whatever karma, etc. But if we are devoted to God, God says, I will look after your basic needs. This is a very simple but very profound statement. Fourth one sloka, which is very, very known, all of you have known it. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshaishyami ma shucha. Don't grieve. Don't grieve. Now people say, Sarva dharman parityajya, renounce all the dharmas, only Hindu dharma is correct. Are bhaiya, when Bhagavad-Gita was told, there was no Christianity, there was no Islam, there was hardly any religion. Why you told? Dharma is your duties and rights. What is the dharma of water? To flow downward. That is the nature of dharma. That nature is called dharma. You say, I am a human being, I can't live without that. No. Renounce that dharma and be devoted to God. I can't live without that. No, you have to live without that. Only you cannot live without God. So compromising everything for the sake of God. If that attitude is there, Sri Krishna says, eventually, I will free you from all the sins. This freedom is not after confession. This concept we don't have. Kshama Yachana is there after all the stotras. But you don't say, this was for encouragement. Ekakalam vikalam va trikalam ya pathen sapta janma kritam papam. What is it? Smaranena vinashyati. Do you think by reading one stotra 3 times a day, all your sins will be destroyed? It can be destroyed if you are devoted to it. It is not the action which makes you free from sins. It is your attitude which makes you free from sins. So here Sri Krishna says, surrender to me, renounce all your duties and rights. Duties are ready to sacrifice. Tomorrow I don't come to office, send the salary to my bank account. No. Rights and duties goes together. So he says, renounce that and surrender to me, and I will free you from all kind of mistakes which you do. And don't grieve, it will really happen to you. There is a lot of discussion. Last sloka I want to say, which is very, very important. There is a concept, many places you get in Vishnu Sahasranama, you get in Bhagavad-Gita, you get in Upanishads also. What is that? If you remember God at the last moment of your life, that will take you across the ocean of birth and death. The example is given of Ajamila, etc. Now, we all think, I will do everything in my life. Last moment, I will think of God. You won't be able to, because you don't have a habit to think of. How to practice that? Whenever you are in any kind of trouble, physical or mental, continuous remembrance of God is an opportunity that God has given you by giving the trouble. For example, you go, we try to do it, it is not a big deal. You also can do it. For example, you went for vaccination. You went for your blood test. So I put my hand like this. A big syringe goes inside, correct? Very painful. Continuously remember the name of God and observe the pain which happens to your body. Oh mama, oh papa, don't remember papa and mama there. Remember God. Idea is this: whenever we fall sick, whenever we have a physical or a mental pain, is an opportunity for us to remember God. So that when death will be what painful we do not know, at least we have some net practice to remember God at the time of death. So this sloka comes in the 8th chapter, 5th sloka. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samad bhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. There is no doubt about it that if you leave this body with a thought of me in your mind, we had earlier time, we don't know, you may have heard or you may have read or you may have seen in the movies and all that. A father says to the son, son, wait, stop everything. It is my time to go. Take the name of God. The father lie down. Son started chanting the sloka in a proper conscious state of mind, remembering God. He left the body. We don't have time to give a cite an example here. In 1 minute, if you allow me to say, we had a Swami whose translation you just mentioned, Swami Vireshwaranandaji. He passed away at the age of 97. How he passed away, you want to hear? His president quarter where he was, his room where he was lying down was full of senior doctors and senior Swamis. His whole president's quarter was full with the monks. He was 27 kilo at the time of death and perfect mental state. Remembering, memory, ability to speak and think, everything was intact. He said, can we make you sit? So at that time, there was an old time of bed, so they rolled the bed and bed was little tilted and he was in a sitting posture. He asked for flowers 4 times. And one Swami was given those flowers to offer in the 4 temples in Belur Math. And the 4 Swamis came back. At that time, what he did, in front of all, there is no miracles, no stories, no imagination. He says to the Swamis and people around him in his room, my time is up, I will leave. And he did namaskaram to everybody, lie down on his bed and passed away, just like you leave your room and go to another room. Like this, they have passed away. This is the reality. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samad bhavam yati nastasta samshaya. This is a fact. This is not a consolation. This is happening every day in the life of those who are devoted to God. Only sometimes we do not know. It has nothing to do whether you are a householder or a sannyasin. A householder, that's why we had a time. You study, you have a family, you are semi-retired and you are completely with God in your sannyasa ashrama. Sannyasa ashrama doesn't mean you may not ordain sannyasa, but you are completely away from your family life, completely devoted to God. If children By the time you are a great grandfather, your great grandson doesn't have time except to get a chocolate from you. You spend time in seclusion with the God, and a time comes when consciously you leave this world, which is like a dream. And these great people have shown householders' life, they are examples. Consciously leave the body chanting the name of God. So these are all facts. These are not only philosophical stories. These are real things of our life. I've taken 10 minutes more than what I was given. Sorry for that. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Whenever my service is needed, I will be there for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swamiji, for those absolutely marvelous and spiritually enlivening words. And Swamiji rightly said that all our spiritual practice should actually lead us to transformation and ultimately lead to a final deliverance. So that is the objective of all spiritual practice, including all our chantings and all study of the Bhagavad-Gita and everything else. So with your, I don't think you would have had a more beautiful Sunday morning than such a wonderful lecture from Swamiji. So our immense gratitude and our countless thanks to Swamiji. So now we will get back to our session back. And Swamiji, hope Swamiji will be available for taking at least maybe one or two questions if there is time available.
I'm here. Okay.
Okay, so now we will go to we are having a new session, a new segment called as a mini quiz. This just a few, it will take just 5 minutes, and this is related to the topics we are covered today. That means including Dhyanam as well as the first 40 verses. That's first 41 verses. That's all. This will be taken. Vinodini will manage this session. So over to Vinodini.
Namaste to everybody. Thank you, KKG, for giving me an opportunity to host this. I think this quiz is mainly for us to force us to understand the meaning of the verses that we are chanting, and also have a bit of a background about them. So about the quiz itself, how you can submit the answers is there are two types of questions. Firstly, one will be like a one-word answer questions. The other will be like needs to be answered within like 20 words. So the longer answers will not be accepted, it will not be considered. And it should be answered before the next session. So before 1 or 2 weeks. And in the next session, we will be, the email ID is given on the slide, geetajayanti.sg@gmail.com. And in the next session, we'll announce the names of the first 10 correct people. So you can take your time, but the names of the first 10 only will be announced, correct answers. And the questions also for the next one will be presented, and someone will also be like explaining the answers to us later. So if at all you missed out the questions today when we are conducting the sessions, these are available on the Geeta Jayanti Facebook page as well. Okay, so I will move to the quiz. Okay. So, okay, we all know that, I think most of us know that the Dhyana Shloka was composed at a much later stage, and it is not a part of the original Mahabharata, which was penned by Sri Veda Vyasaji. So, who is believed to have authored the Gita Dhyanam that we are chanting today, the Parthaya Pratipoditam, that one? Is it Adi Shankaracharya ji, or Ramanujacharya ji, Madhvacharya ji, or Madhusudana Saraswati ji? So, that's the first question. Second one is the same thing. This is also from the Dhyana. In the Dhyana verse, which portrays Lord Krishna, who milks the nectar, that is the Gita, what is the posture that his hands are indicating or portraying? I'll repeat the question with a bit of a clue for you all. In the Dhyana verse, which portrays Lord Krishna, who milks the nectar, that is Gita, what mudras are his hands or has portraying? Okay. And now moving on to the main Gita, we have the next question. In verse 4, which by what name is Yuyudhana better known as? So verse 4 is basically Atra Shura Maheshwasaha Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratascha. So that name Yuyudhana, there is a more known name for him, and that name is also mentioned further in the chapter. Okay, so if you go through once, you can know it easily. It's mentioned later in the same chapter in the verses that we chanted today. And the next one is fourth question. So though not said explicitly, who is the implicit narrator of verse 1? Just ayane shucha sarve, verse 11, right? Ayane shucha sarveshu yatha bhagam avasthitaha bhishma meva bhirakshantu bhavantas sarva eva hi. So I'll just give the translation now once, so in case you can guess from there. So this goes, therefore, I call upon all the generals of the Kaurava army now to give full support to Grand Sir Bhishma, even as you defend your respective strategic points. So here we don't have any Uvacha here, but there is somebody who's telling this to somebody else. So who is the person who's mentioning this verse? It is implicitly understood. Okay, so the next is names of the conches of Krishna and Pandavas. These are some very beautiful names, straight away lifted from our chanting, whatever we did today. So this is the first category of questions, which will be like a single word answers. Now we go to the second category, which needs to be answered in 20 words or less. So, okay, so first one, the Gita verses start with the word Dharma Kshetre. What does the word dharma mean literally? Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha. So what does dharma in that context means literally? Next is the word Maharatha is used in Gita to indicate what? A precise answer with reference. Okay. So Maharatha is used in a couple of places, I think. What I can remember from the top of my head is Atra Shura Maheshwasaha Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharatha. So in Gita itself, what does Maharatha mean for this in this context? Third one of the names used in the Gita is Gudakesha. What does for Arjuna? One of the names of Arjuna used in the Gita is Gudakesha, specifically in verse 1.24. Yeva mukto rishikeshaha Gudakeshena Bharata. So Arjuna is referred by many names throughout the Gita, which we can see many names. So in this name, Sanjaya calls Arjuna as Gudakesha. So what does this word mean literally? And it's personally it's one of my favorite names of Arjuna. Fourth one of the main arguments of Arjuna in the war is that it will lead to the destruction of the family or clans. According to Arjuna, what are the consequences? So from verse 28, he will actually start telling his problem to, he will start like opening up to the Lord, and he says that Dishtve Mam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsum Sampastam. So he starts saying, so further down, he says what he sees as the outcome of the war and why it needs to be avoided according to him. So he himself will say that in further down after the verse 28. And the last question, what were the physical signs of despondency of Arjuna as per the Gita? This also he himself tells what is happening to him physically after seeing all Bhishma, Drona, and that he has to fight with them. So these are the questions for this week. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vinodji. So beautifully, you have given the questions as well as the conditions very beautifully. Thank you so much. Okay, now we go to the concluding mantras, and so that after that we have to we'll have a short question answer session. So over to Sunilji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Dhanyantara Murtaye Amrita Galasha Hastaya Sarvamaya Vinashanaya Trailokya Nathaya Mahavishnave Swaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Anantaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Anantaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Anantaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kayena Vacha Manasendriyerva Buddhyatmana va Prakriti Swabhava Karomi Yadyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanaeti Samarpayami Om Purnamada Purnamitam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om Om
Thank you so much, Sonalji, for that beautiful concluding verses. And so this is the end of the formal session for today. And I request everybody to actually enable your videos so that we can take a photograph. And after that, we'll have a short question answer. At least we will take 1 or 2 questions if there are any questions. So meanwhile, I will actually enable unmuting of the everybody by them. And request everybody to enable your videos, please. Ishwaran, everybody kindly enable your videos, please. Yeah, thank you very much. So that is enough for the photography. Now, anyone has any questions, you can actually unmute yourself and ask to Swamiji. Swamiji is available here for regarding this talk that he held. I mean, such a beautiful talk that Swamiji delivered earlier.
My only request is that we are already at 1 p.m. and maybe we can just take probably 1 or maximum 2 questions so that we'll have a better time management. I think we cannot keep Swamiji and Jayachandranji waiting for very long. Thank you.
Yeah.
Of course, other people in the audience also. Thank you.
I agree. Yeah, we should not delay too much. Yeah. Any questions, anybody? Sunilji, I want to ask you a question.
Swamiji, pranams. Swamiji, in Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's life, as that Rani Rasamani,
Yes,
as she was seated in the
yes, yes.
in the sanctum, in front of the sanctum,
incident of yes,
came out and bet her on the cheek. Could you please explain that?
Okay. There is an incident in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was in temple worshipping. Rani Rasmani, who built that Dakshineshwar temple and was a was a queen. She came to the temple and was sitting and meditating. Sri Ramakrishna could understand and realize that she's sitting in the temple, but she's thinking about the lawsuits she has with the British and all that. So he comes out of the temple and slaps to the Rani. So much commotion was there because he is a priest in the eyes of everybody. He is just a priest. So then Rani stopped everybody and says, no, what he has done is correct. I was sitting in the temple, but my mind was not here. I was thinking about some lawsuits we have. So Sri Ramakrishna actually he has taught me that if you are here, physically being in the temple is not important, but your mind also, your heart also should be there. That is the incident.
Ananyas Chintayanto Mam.
Yes. Yes. If there is no question, a small incident, very, very insignificant apparently, but it means a lot. In 2 minutes I will tell. It was beginning of my monastic life. I was in India, in Prayagraj, where there is a confluence of Ganga and Yamuna and Saraswati, which is not visible, but they call it Triveni Sangam. So, as many devotees come there a lady used to come, and she was mentally disabled. So she was, I won't say she was lunatic, but she was not in the right frame. So she may behave in whichever way her mind says her to behave. So I closed the temple on the upstairs on the second floor and was coming down by the staircase. This lady is entering mission and was climbing up the temple. So I was very new. So I just told her, without looking at her, I told, please come at 4 o'clock. Now temple is closed. And this lady, again, without looking at me, told very nicely, in Bengali, they call it Baba. Baba is like father also, son also. She says, Baba, your temple may be closed. My mind is not closed. And she is a mad woman. We go to an open temple with a closed mind. She is going to a closed temple with an open mind. Mind has to be open. Temple doors could be closed. You will find in all our temples also, sometimes people come late. Closed temple, they will do pranama in front of the temple door and go. There is no less devotion for them maybe. Temple is closed or open is an institutional organization has a rule. We close at this time, we open at this time. But people have to come to temple with an open mind, or the heart should be open to God. Then I after narrating in this incident, I tell, at that time I felt, who is mad? She is mad or I am mad? We don't understand. So Sri Ramakrishna says in one place, you must be able to learn. You must keep your ears and eyes open for learning. Anybody can teach you. Even a small child can teach you, provided you want to learn it. So this is one incident which I narrate many places. Similar incident happened here in Singapore. I was sitting outside my office, and morning after temple, I have come down. It must be about 6:30 to 6:45 on one of the weekends. Children of our boys' home, boys do not come out of the boys' home because sometimes Swamis are in the temple, so they make noise and all that, so they don't come out. I was sitting on the bench and reading the newspaper which has come in the morning. As a youngest boy, I still remember the name. He must be a young adult now, called Puvendran. He was the youngest boy in our boys' home. He comes out of the boys' home and tells me with his utter disgust in his eyes and on his forehead like this, and telling me, what makes you to read all these things in the morning? I am a Swami, I am in charge of the boys' home superintendent. That doesn't matter to a child. I am afraid of you. Oh, you must be a big man. You are this and that. Child doesn't care for your position and all that. He taught me a lesson. You are a monk coming back from the temple at 6:30 in the morning. What makes you to read newspaper? If nothing is to be done, go and sleep. That also is okay. but don't spoil your mind by reading something which is anti, in a way, spiritual thoughts. So there are people to teach us. So whenever somebody scolds or give a small sermon, quietly once I hear, introspect whether person tells is really true for me. If it is true, we accept and go forward. But this is a learning process that people, Swami Vivekananda says, the nature around you, nature doesn't mean trees and birds and all that. Anybody else than you is a part of nature. Even your body is part of nature. The existence of nature is for the education of the soul, Swami Vivekananda says. Anybody can teach you if you are ready to learn. So let us keep our ears and eyes open and let us learn from each other and go forward in our life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. So I think, Srinivasi, can we close the session for today?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Swamiji, for a wonderful postscript lecture also. That was wonderful. We learned a lot from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It was truly amazing. It was truly amazing. Yeah. And we thank everyone who participated in today's session. And the next session will be on 2 weeks from today on 16th Saturday, same time, 11 o'clock.
Thank you. And we also like to thank our GOH, Sri Jayachandraji. We consider these two people, why we always meet as the first, they are, for us, sentimentally, they are very, very good, so that the entire process goes on smoothly. So we look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah. Our immense gratitude to KRG as well as to Swamiji, and also all the participants and all the wonderful chanters. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And KKG cannot say, I will say it. Thank you, KKG, for streamlining the whole thing. Thank you.
And also one more thing is today's the new session that quizzes. I request everybody to respond to the quizzes. The whole idea is to learn something more in the Gita. Like Swamiji said, you should first of all learn, then only you can practice. Then once you practice, it becomes a part of you.
Okay. Incidentally, I think I like to also mention that Gita Jayanti also has commenced another new initiative called Ameya last week, where 3 shlokas are shared every day in the majestic voice of Swami Omkaranandaji in the same format, so that both the Ameya as well as the online Parayan will complement each other and prepare the students or the registrants to chant Gita yet much better and participate on 4th December 22 in the Moksha the Parayan planned at PGP Hall. I can feel that relaxation, all rules will be relaxed and we can have a mass presentation and mass chanting there. So please mark the date in your mind now itself. Thanks a lot.
I ask a small question.
Sure.
This whole Gita Parayana, today first chapter has been chanted, first half.
Yeah.
So till 18th chapter, how many months time you have?
End of November, Swamiji, 26th. Basically, the week before the actual Moksha Ekadashi day will be the final session. So 18 sessions every 2 weeks. So you can just calculate, it's actually 18 into 2, 18 divided by 2, approximately 9 months.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I have a request. Any one of you, anyone who is interested, and if you want to write Bhagavad-Gita, you can write, and I will like to see if anybody wants to write. You write the whole Bhagavad-Gita if you want in your own, whichever vernacular, write in Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, Sanskrit, Bengali, whichever language you follow is fine, or English, whichever way. If anybody is interested, I will like to meet you. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you so much.
Somebody raised a hand, actually. But KVT Sundari has raised a hand. Do you have any questions, madam? Maybe accident. Okay.
It's okay. Okay.
Anyway,
Thank you.
Swamiji, in fact, we have an idea in the Ameya to request all the people to write the slokas by hand themselves in any language they know, and then bring it out on the Moksha this day and place it at the lotus feet of God.
We can keep this time limit that by the Parayana is over, that Gita will be ready.
Yeah. In fact, we want to tell them that, it will go to the people that they write it and bring it on the day, on the Moksha is the day, to the PGP hall, and it will be placed on the altar or whatever the dais, submitted at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and then distributed back to them, and it becomes their, and that, like you said, that becomes their own personal copy thereafter.
Correct. Personal copy. That's very important.
Yeah, I think we'll spread this idea more so that more
Yeah.
people come to know about this.
Yeah, sure,
So
sure,
it's
sure.
a very good
Okay.
idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So see everybody at the next session.
Thank
Thank
you.
Hari Om.
Bye. Again.